Hi, this is Snaily Snail. So it has been officially over a year since I have moved to Chicago. So today I thought I'd share with you some of the food places that I really like eating at. I haven't tried all the restaurants in Chicago because there's just so many. The Whale and I usually try to try a new restaurant every week. Sometimes it's just not doable, and with COVID, we have just been ordering takeout. So I don't know if all of the places are doing takeout right now, but here are just some of the places that I enjoy eating at. So first, because this is Chicago, what's Chicago without the stuffed pizza or deep dish pizza? My personal favorite is Giordano's or Nancy's Pizzeria. I especially like the Giordano's at Navy Pier. I know it's sort of like a tourist trap place, but I feel like because they do so many deep dish pizzas, they have it down. Like, I think that their oven is just set at like a higher temperature and they leave the pies in there for a little bit longer, so the cheese really melts and there's like the stringiness and stuff. I feel like I don't get that at every single Giordano's, but I like it a lot more than Lou Malnati's. People are gonna hate me for this, but Lou Malnati has so much tomato sauce, and then the crust isn't like a pie crust. So it's not entirely edible. Like, you get to the end and the roof of my mouth hurts every single time I bite into it, and I'm like, when I was living in the Gold Coast, I really liked Eduardo's. They just do everything right. There's a lot of cheese, there's like enough sauce, and I think Nancy's does really good chocolate chip cookies. They're a little bit melted, so when you break it open, there's chocolate oozing out. Oh, I just love that so much. Next, for Korean food, I really like Crisp. The problem with Crisp that I have is that it's far away. They don't do delivery. It's several miles one way for me, and oh, but they just do such great boneless chicken. Oh, it's just so good. And then they have like the different sauces. They call it something else, but it's really like gochujang and sweet soy sauce. They also do bibimbaps. I have been since COVID, and now you have to pay for your sauce. They do come with like a little packet, but I used to sit there and I would just like slather it on. I just love gochujang and bibimbap. I've been ordering from Kim's Home Cooking. I love their fried chicken. They do have bones in them, so that's just like something to look out for if you are afraid of, I don't know, swallowing a whole chicken bone one day. And I thought their packaging was actually really well done because the heat was still there, like the sauce wasn't dripping out. Yeah. And I also really like the Soju Barbecue House. I think that's what it's called. Their spicy wings are actually really good. It's also covered in gochujang and then like I don't know, like a sticky gochujang. I had it dripping everywhere. I'm terrible. Their wings are just so, like, it's covered in sauce. Check those out. And those two do delivery. Next, this is like the cheap place that we are constantly going to. It's the Global McDonald's, or the McDonald's headquarters. I love that they bring all these different McDonald's dishes from all over the world so you can actually try it, and it's just so good. Like, I love the McPops. They're so pillowy. It's like if Munchkins just melted in your mouth. I think they also do milk chocolate or something else, like some other filling, but I really like the white chocolate ones. And if you are living in Chicago, but maybe you don't know if it's worth it to make the trip to the Global McDonald's, what you can do is you can download the McDonald's app, pull it up, and then change your location to the Randolph Street. I think it's like Randolph Street. If you change your location to the Randolph Street one, which is the Global McDonald's, you're able to see the entire menu, and then you can see what's not available, what is available. So yeah, sometimes the Brazilian desserts aren't always available. One time we ordered an ice cream and it was out of order, so we got the Bacci one, which is an Italian hazelnut candy that they put into a McFlurry. It was pretty good. Next, for barbecue, I really like Chicago Q Restaurant. It looks like a house on the outside. I was like, what is this Southern hospitality? I love the sweet pickles that they give out for free as like a little starter appetizer, palate cleanser, I don't know. And then they also do barbecue chips that they make in-house. So good. and they just constantly refill them. And a full slab is definitely enough for 2 people. I've been there twice and I've had the same server both times. His name's James and he is so nice to me. On Yelp, if you check in, you get 20% off, I think. So that's what I did my first time. And then the second time, I just showed up again and he remembered me because let's just say I'm weird, okay? And my brother came to Chicago for spring break. So he actually did a magic trick for us. It was so nice. I just like really like their food. I'm not really a fan of their chicken, but for barbecue, it's just like, wow. James was like talking about how some people are insane and they ask for all the sauces. And then my brother was like, can you list the sauces? And then in the end, James actually ended up bringing out every single sauce that they had available. So I had honey on my cornbread. It was very tasty. I find that for the price, it's worth it because the servings are pretty big. I'm always so stuffed. They have this cheesecake that has like Oreo on the bottom and then like one strawberry on top. The cheesecake was a fifth of the entire cake and I made the mistake of getting 2, but it wasn't actually a mistake because it was so good. I love going there. It's always great service, great food. Next, I really enjoy Vietnamese food. My friend and I, we usually go for pho whenever we see each other just to, catch up. There's something like warming about pho. I usually go to Argyle station and then I get off and literally every single shop serves pho. So I go to Pho Viet because they just cut the thickest slabs of meat in there and it's just so good. They do the big bowls. I love myself the big bowls. And they do Pho Thai. I used to eat Bak Viet. I don't know if I'm saying anything right. I'm not Viet. That's like where they put everything, including like the intestines, is really high in cholesterol, and I have high cholesterol, unfortunately. So I just stick to Pho Thai now. Lots of people line up for the place that's next door, but I'm like, you know what? I have my place already. I'm happy. And another place that we tried was Hai Su's. It's a little bit more upscale, but it was actually not too bad for the price. I feel like I'm cheating on my usual pho place if I'm going there. So I only ate there once. It's really good, but I think I'm gonna stick to Pho Viet. And then for all you can eat sushi, I really like Sushi Taku. It's so packed. I went after work. You really have to make a reservation for this place. I loved every single thing that I ordered there. The only thing I didn't like was the volcano. That thing's nasty. Like it has cream cheese or whatever inside. Oh, like who? Oh, and that's not the only problem with the volcano. The volcano is huge. Like I came there and it was just like this big roll and you will get charged if you don't finish it. So the freaking whale and I had to stuff our mouths with this nastiness and then they cut me off after I ordered like 4 ice creams. I was like, all right, cool. And another place that this one is a little bit more like fusion Asian food. It's in Hakore 2.0, so I'm guessing there's a 1.0. They do such great sushi burritos. Oh, and then they also do amazing bulgogi fries. They were so good. The whale really likes this place. It's called Blackbird and it's in the West Loop. They usually do this burger, which is why we wanted to go, but we didn't know that they have a rotating menu. And then the desserts are just amazing there. The whale and I, we made a reservation. It was around it was like the day before Thanksgiving. He was like, oh, hey, no one's at your workplace. I have the day off. Why don't I take you out for lunch? You probably don't have much to do at work anyway. And then I spoke to my boss who was okay with it. So when we went to this place, it's so tightly packed. They pull out the table for you, then you crawl over and you sit in, and then they push the table back in. Even though we made a reservation, there was really no one. But there was this Korean family that saw us, and I guess we were pretty well dressed, and they were looking for a restaurant that was open around Thanksgiving. So they followed us and they were like, oh, this is a restaurant, because I would have walked past it because I just didn't, yeah. it just doesn't stand out to me. It's literally like a white box with a transparent square, and then it says Blackbird on top. So they also went inside, and then there were these two international Chinese girls. I think they saw that there were so many Asians in the restaurant, so they thought, oh, it must be a great Asian spot. And they also came in and they were seated right next to us, and I could understand. And then they were looking at the menu and they were just like, what's going on? So the problem I have is that you just don't understand what's in the food. I have a very simple palate, so I'm okay with just like burgers and stuff. They ended up not having the burger when we went there, so we got the beef sando, and it was actually really good. They incorporate mushrooms into everything, and I'm just like, why? And then the last place that the whale really likes is Dusix Board and Beer. At Dusix, there's just like this huge beer selection. It's not really my thing, but their burger is so good. The whale thinks it's better than Al Cheval. I don't think Al Cheval is worth it because the service is really crappy. You're waiting hours to get in. Their French omelet, I didn't know what a French omelet was, so that was my own mistake. It was slimy. I think next time I'm just gonna stick with the basics. Some honorable mentions, like some places that we enjoy going to, but it's not like anything really special. We really like Fo de Chao. It's a franchise, but I feel like every single time I go, the service is great. During COVID, it has been amazing. So they had steak for like $4, and it was like a decent sized steak. So like that fed us for a very long time. When we ordered the burger, this burger was just like the thickest burger I've ever seen, and it was a little bit red on the inside, which is not really how I like my burgers done. I really like their candy bacon with a little bit of red pepper flakes on top. Oh, it's just so good. Next, there's Weber Grill. I think it's like good. I really like Corona's Cafe for smoothies. And then another one that I want to mention is Small Cheval. So Al Cheval has like the longest line ever. It's just not worth it. So I think Small Cheval is a good alternative because it's more casual fast food, which is what I think Al Cheval is. So those are my favorite restaurants that I have been to thus far. Let me know if you have any suggestions, and I will, check them out, try it out. I think the baseline for Chicago restaurants is actually pretty high. I've only been to a handful of restaurants I was like, eh. If you're not in Chicago, maybe you can revisit this list once you decide to come and try out some of these restaurants. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye! I feel like it's a little slanted.
Boy, you're so slanted.